Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Sign up now for a $20 free bet. Just use the code IFLTV24. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV. Delighted to be joined by promoter Frank Warren. Frank, how's the weather there?
It's sunny, but you're freezing. The local pawnbrokers closed down.
Right, well, listen, first of all, I know it's the 10th of January, but Happy New Year anyway, Frank. Obviously, I haven't seen you since Saudi, but your Christmas and New Year were good?
Yeah, it was lovely. I mean, we got back from Saudi on the Christmas Eve, and it was nice family time. Christmas is like that, and it's lovely family time, and enjoyed it. And we're back in the swing for a big 2024.
We'll come on to that in just a second. What was the best present you got, Frank? Come on.
Best present I got. What was the best present I got? God, I can't even think. Do you know that? I can't even. I'm getting so old. I can't even remember what I did get. I got some nice presents. Yeah, seeing everyone's nice. I mean, that's a present.
Peace and quiet is a present.
Peace and quiet is definitely a present. I'll soon get fed up with that. That's something I do get fed up with it after a while.
Okay, let's jump straight into it, Frank. Obviously, I mean, the Saudi show, there was so much to kind of pick through. I mean, we'll just go on to that a little bit from, obviously, the curveball chucked in there was the fact that Joseph Parker defeating Deontay Wilder, which kind of scuppered the plans for an AJ and Wilder fight for March. We'll talk about kind of what's happened since then. But yeah, just a little bit of a recap and a reflection from Saudi Arabia. It was another very interesting and a mad week in Saudi Arabia.
Well, it was. I mean, for considering it's only put together in a space of about 6 weeks, and what come out of it when you got 10 of the top 15 heavyweights appearing on the show, there was interest from all around the world, and obviously a lot of promoters working with each other to get the thing going. But looking back at it, I thought AJ was very, very convincing in his win against Wallin. I thought Wallin was quite disappointing. But having said that, AJ did what he had to do, went out, took him apart, busted his nose up, and he didn't want to know anymore. So, hats off to him. He done what he had to do. I thought Deontay Wilder looked dreadful. But again, Joe Parker and Andy Lee got their tactics absolutely spot on and done a fabulous job from the start of round one all the way through. And he thoroughly deserved the win. And it was an upset. And I did, it was an upset on paper, but I did feel that there was going to be some upsets there. I really did, even with Caballero and Makhmudov. Again, a lot of people fancy Makhmudov, and I thought Caballero really dealt with him really well. So it was, there were some cracking fights on there, and it was great for what's happening this year. And there's some questions that are going to be asked. Can Wilder come back? Does he want to come back? Who knows? You've got obviously AJ now in a real intriguing fight with Ngannou, which is going to be a press conference, so that's going to be quite soon. There's some really exciting fights and some exciting times coming along.
Frank, I remember all week in pretty much every interview I saw with you, you were the one kind of saying, look, these kind of caliber of fighters, there is going to be an upset. You kind of said that from the off and said that you can't have kind of all these fights that are going to go on the A side or the perceived A side. You were right in that fact in, the Wilder and Parker fight. But also, obviously, with Daniel Dubois as well, Frank, a great win for Dubois that kind of was a 50-50 fight, it looked like, beforehand. And we see Daniel Dubois stop Gerald Miller quite late in that fight in the last round. But that was a very good win for Daniel Dubois.
It was, and it was on paper going in there for a lot of people, a 50-50 fight. Having said that, for me, I fancied Daniel to win the fight, and he had to win it. There's been a lot of people made a lot of comments about him and about his heart and his desire, and I think he's thoroughly proved it in that fight that he wants it and how badly he wants it against a guy who was competitive and come to fight. He was a big old lump, but he had fast hands, and for a while he gave him a few problems to think about. But I thought Daniel boxed well. I thought he won it by, was it 10 rounds? I thought he won it by 8 rounds. The other guy may have given him a couple of rounds, but he had to dig deep. I don't think the scoring of the fight showed what the fight was, if you know what I mean. I think that it was one of those where I know a lot of people were waiting for, is he going, is Daniel going to stay at it? Is he still going to keep his composure? Is he going to come through this? And he did do it. And as I say, as far as I'm concerned, he's put himself back into the running now. We got the big show, the biggest show of this century, the biggest fight out there between the heavyweights, between Tyson and Usyk, and 4 belts for the first time ever put on the line. First proper unification fight this century. After that, it's going to be quite interesting to see what develops and what happens in the heavyweight division. All these guys are vying for a shot at who's ever going to be the champion. There'll be maybe some rematches and some other fights in there beforehand, but all these guys are jockeying for position with the various governing bodies to stake their claims for a shot at whoever who's holding the belts at the time, or maybe even if they become vacant, who knows?
We'll come on to Fury and Usyk, which is obviously approaching very quickly next month on February the 17th. But I do want to start with the breaking news from the weekend, and it kind of come out of the blue and it didn't. I know the fight with Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou was kind of half mentioned, but then it was kind of announced that this was going to be the fight on March the 8th. But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting fight, and it's interesting because of Ngannou's performance against Tyson Fury back in October, for AJ to be going in there with him. But what do you think about this matchup with someone who's only having their second professional fight, and in those 2 fights would have fought Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua in Francis Ngannou?
Well, look, it's a very intriguing fight. It's been spiced up by obviously his performance that he had against Tyson. It is his second fight as a boxer, but it's not his second fight. He's had a long fighting career with UFC, and he was very successful. He was their undisputed heavyweight champion. We all knew what he would bring something to the party, or I certainly felt he would, with his punching power, as Tyson will tell you he does punch, with his, the fact that, in fighting, that's their game, the MMA fighters. You look at them, certainly, and you talk about the top level. You're not talking about some guy who's down the bottom or a YouTube fighter. You're talking about somebody who shapes up and looked like a boxer and boxed against Tyson. Now we know what he can do. We know he can box. We know he's got a fighter's heart. We know he can punch. He shapes up well. He doesn't stand on square on like most MMA fighters. He as I say, shapes up boxer. He can fight out of either stance, southpaw or orthodox. And as I say, as I started with, it is an intriguing fight, because if he catches AJ, who knows? I mean, he put Tyson on the deck. If he catches AJ, I'm thinking put him on the deck. Can he do that? Will he be able to do that? The one thing that certainly AJ's got going into this fight, he's actually seen him in a boxing ring, so he knows what he's facing. Whereas Tyson didn't have that luxury. It was everybody just saying this is a foregone conclusion, and Tyson won the fight, but Tyson wasn't at his best. He wasn't at his best, and people have fighters have off nights, but you have an off night and you win. That tells you the caliber of fighter you are. So now he's fighting a guy on the 17th in Usyk, who he knows him inside out as far as watching him and looking at footage and so forth. So that's as I say, that's going to determine what happens in the future at the top of the division. And you've got AJ in this fight now, and he's got to keep doing what he did against Wallin. He's got to win and win in style. You know, that's where he's at. But I don't think it'd be this fella won't come to sit on. He ain't going to come and sit on the floor. That's for sure.
Mm. Frank, how does it work in terms of your involvement in these shows? Obviously, we've got 2 huge months of boxing in February and March with Fury and Usyk, and then obviously AJ and Ngannou in March. But for yourself, obviously, your alignment with Saudi and His Excellency Turkey. What's your involvement with the March card then? Have you got fighters on that card, Frank? How's it working?
Exactly as the same as the last 2 we've done. Exactly the same. We're in the same position, and yeah, we'll have fighters on there. There'll be fighters on there. We're working on the undercards at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of speculation for both undercards. I think are being reported. Sergei Kovalev is being reported for. I think the Fury card, etc. Joe Cordina has been reported to go on there. Can you tell us anything about either of them undercards, Frank?
I can't, but we're working on it. And as I say, it will be announced in due course at a press conference. But it'll be top quality. It's all about bringing the best from all over the world to fight on there. But you've got to remember, Tyson's show is a unique fight. It's the most unique fight out of all of them because the cost of the fight, number one, and the magnitude of the fight. So there'll be a great undercard on there, but I think all eyes will be focused on that main event.
I suppose out of the 2 shows, the biggest kind of rumour mill going around is that Deontay Wilder will return on that Joshua card against Zhang. Frank, can you tell us anything? I mean, it's a bold move from Wilder if he is going against Zhang after the defeat to Parker. But can you tell us anything about that?
Not at this stage, mate. Not at this stage.
Nothing. Is it? Are we way off with that? With the reports of that, or?
As I say, the undercard. It's not being evasive until things are signed. You can't talk about them, so we've got to wait for contracts to be signed because. You announce something, no signed contract, falls apart, and everybody thinks we're and it has happened in the past with me and other promoters. You announce something you're trying to do, and it all falls apart and doesn't happen. So until all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, we will wait and then we'll announce them.
Do you think though, whether it's Zhang or whoever, do you think Wilder will feature on that March the 8th card in Saudi?
At this stage, I couldn't even tell you.
Okay. What about Dubois? Obviously, off the back of that win against Gerald Miller, is he going to feature on any of these cards coming up in February or March?
He won't fight in February. I'd like it to be out in March, and we're working on that.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're getting to grips with the fact that these cards are kind of could be announced at kind of very short notice, but there's obviously a lot of work going on behind the scenes, so it's not a case of these fighters.
Well, there's a lot of work going on, but you got to remember, this is put together. You know, I mean, we did the first show at the start of the season, and then quickly originally it was going to be AJ against Wilder. Sorry, get that wrong. It's going to be the Usyk fight against Tyson, and that didn't happen. That's been pushed back, which is now on February 17th. And we put that show together. All of us working together, put it together at short notice. So that's the reason why there's, the undercards and so forth have been done at short notice. But as time goes on, there'll be more time to put the events together and get them out there well before the event takes place.
Let's come on to Feb 17th because that is quickly approaching. Obviously, we know that Fury and Usyk are both deep into camp, but yeah, I mean, all systems go for Feb 17th. This is going to be some night in Saudi. Obviously, a situation in terms of the undisputed that we've waited for such a long time is going to get settled that night.
Look, it's a great fight. I mean, it's a great fight. Everybody's got a view about it, especially after seeing Tyson in his last fight and seeing Usyk in his last fight. A couple of people I've spoken to have changed their minds about how they feel the fight will pan out. Me, I think Tyson will win the fight. I'm a big believer. I believe he's the best heavyweight in the world, and I think that the fact he knows Usyk and knows him well, and vice versa. By the way, with Usyk, I mean he's obviously studied Tyson, was at ringside has been at ringside at a few of his fights. It's gonna be an intriguing fight. It's gonna be intriguing, and I just hope that Tyson does what I believe he can do, and I think he'll be successful on the night.
Frank, I know you would have spoken to Tyson. What does Tyson make of the fact that Ngannou is now fighting Anthony Joshua? Have you spoken to him about that fight?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No, I haven't.
Okay, because obviously since that Saudi show, we've not heard a lot from Tyson in regards to even a reaction kind of from that show. We know he's obviously very close with Joseph Parker, but we've not heard too much, which indicates to me he's just focused completely on the 17th and not interested in anything else.
He's training hard. I mean, he's been in training. He trained over the Christmas, and and New Year. He went out to Saudi. I think it was 2 days before. Was it the end of December in training camp? I mean, this is serious for him. He's out there. He's been training. He's been working hard. He's been lots of rumours flying around, and we'll see on the night.
Okay. Is there any specific rumours that you're referring to, Frank?
Sorry?
Is there any specific rumours that you're referring to?
I keep reading stuff every day, and it's all quite intriguing and whatever, but we'll see.
Okay. We are to assume, obviously, with this play with Riyadh season, that the second fight between the two, obviously irrelevant of what happens in the first, but will happen in the second part of Riyadh season, which will feature in the kind of the later of 2024.
What will feature?
For Fury and Usyk, like if there's obviously a projected rematch between the two of them, this will happen later in the year.
Let's see how it pans out. Let's see how the fight. Let's get the first one done first. Everybody's jumping ahead. I mean, there's a lot. This is a good fight. Let's focus on this fight. That's what matters. This fight's going to shake up the heavyweight division. We're going to get somebody's going to come out of there as the number one, undisputed. We'll see where it goes from there. And then, there's lots of things happening. I mean, 1 minute we were going to be doing Wilder and Joshua, and it's not happened. That's what happens in boxing. Lots of things change, especially with these big guys. One punch can change the whole dynamic of the sport.
Absolutely. So, are you telling us we're going to have a champagne 2024 or Prosecco 2024?
Yeah, champagne and Prosecco. Well, it depends who's the sommelier. I would think. I think it was a champagne 2023, and I think it's going to be a super champagne 2024. It's great fights. That was a fabulous end to the year. We had some great cards. We had some good fights last year. The Magnificent Seven was a cracking show. Brilliant show over here, domestic show. Some of our guys come through, Nick Ball I thought looked brilliant, and he's the mandatory now. So either Figueroa or Vargas. We'll see what happens with that. He's going to get a title fight. We've got Nathan Heaney there, who a lot of people thought was the upset of the year. Probably was the upset of the year, but boxed brilliantly well. So that was a really good show. We're doing a similar type of show which we'll announce in March. It'll be another Magnificent Seven style show, a 24/7. We're in 24, and there'll be 7 big fights on 24/7. I think we're calling it that one. So there's going to be some really good fights on there. We've got a great show on the 10th of February with Shiraz
and Williams, yeah.
Hamza and Liam. That's a cracking fight. Been postponed from last year. Really good undercard on there. And you look on there, Sam Noakes is on there in a title fight. We got Masood Abdullah. Anthony Yarde's going to return on that show. He'll have a fight back. Carol Tuma and a lot of our young kids are going to be on there. So, I'm looking forward to them. And we've got these fabulous shows happening, these super shows happening in the Riyadh season in Saudi. They're brilliant. So there's a lot of good things happening. A lot of good things, boxing fans now are getting what they've been asking for.
Absolutely. I think we can. Boxing fans can kind of.
Champagne. Sorry, it is champagne. It's champagne.
It's
Champagne.
not.
We're not sure. We're not sure what radio station we're going to put them on though. We know we're going to put them on a baby sham channel, or a prosecco channel, or a champagne channel. We'll have to work out.
Frank. Obviously, this year it's looking like this could be kind of a very pivotal, like a time in boxing, and kind of we can see the possibility of a lot of these fights that we want as fans being made. Obviously, no bigger than Fury-Usy right now, which is going to happen in less than 5 weeks. But it is a fight by kind of a fight. We've got that one. We've got Aj-Ngannou, etc. But we have to see what goes and what happens in those fights to see kind of what determines what happens during the year.
Well, in the heavyweight division, yeah, in the heavyweight division. But there are other divisions. There are other fights. I mean, you know, you've got two guys. You've got Bivol and Opetaya. They prove special talents out there. They both had tremendous wins. There's lots of things and lots of guys that, you know, as I say, in the different weight categories. It's exciting times for everyone. I mean, it really is exciting, and everyone wants to be part of it. Everyone wants to get involved with it, which is great, and that's making people work together.
Mm. Have you heard from your friend Eddie Hearn over the last couple of weeks? Any messages?
No, I think he deals mostly with George. I mean, you know, he didn't pull my cracker at all over the Christmas.
That's interesting to hear. It's really weird. I've got to be honest with you, Frank. Kind of this dynamic now, seeing like the pictures of you and Hearn, and like it's weird for like boxing fans to get to grips with, but it's good because it's positive for the sport. It's positive for boxing. It just means that kind of
it just means it's killed your clickbait.
Let's not start on that, Frank. It's positive though. It's good for boxing fans.
Look,
it's weird to see though. It is very weird to see you and Hearn together.
Well, I mean, if you'd gone back years ago, you'd have seen him his old man working with me on a few shows. I mean, that's it. You know, you could have said the same thing about Bob Arum and Don King. Those massive big shows in the States and whatever years ago, but they worked together on shows. You know, I think for me, it seems everybody else is more interested in it than I am. All I want is the fights to go on, and if we have a bit of fun and a laugh, and we had a couple of meals while we were out there, and they were quite entertaining. So it's all good fun. It's all good fun.
So, with an interview I did with Eddie Hearn on New Year's Eve, actually, I asked him to rate his 2023 as a promoter, like a score out of 10. Anyway, I think I gave him initially a 6.5 that went to a 7. He gave himself, I think, an 8.5 in that. But he did name you as kind of, when I said, who's your promoter of the year, he did name you. So with those scores there, Frank, what do you rate your 2023? Like, how would you rate yourself out of 10 as a promoter in 2023? What do you reckon?
I think we we didn't get the fight on that we really wanted to get on because of injuries and various reasons and politics until His Excellency got involved. So I'd say probably about I don't know, 8.5, 9 out of 10. This year, we're starting off 10 out of 10 before we start. And I'm delighted to tell you and all your viewers that I'm going to be on the front page of Men's Health.
Okay. Okay.
What it's gonna say is you don't want to wind up like this. So get a 10 out of 10. This is how you're going to look. If you really want it that bad, that's how you're going to look.
I was going to ask, because obviously, yeah. What do you reckon? First of all, let's talk about Eddie Hearn's fitness journey. I'm sure you would have been sent a few pictures and images, etc. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you embracing it and liking it, Frank, to see your now friend and also competitor headlining and being in front of Men's Health magazine.
Yeah, good luck to him. He's took the challenge and done it. And good luck to him. It's, you know, that's a good thing to be healthy. And listen, for me, I wish I was that age. It's a good thing to do it. That's what everybody should be doing. Everybody should do their best to keep themselves in good conditions. Otherwise, they wind up looking like you, mate.
Frank, I know you're not talking to me there. I'm in decent shape for a 42-year-old.
Is that what you are?
Yeah.
Get out of it.
Don't start, Frank.
You've been clocked.
Frank, do you know what? I've just got to mention something, yeah. So randomly, I was talking to Jimmy McDonnell, probably about how long ago? Maybe a couple of years ago. And I said to him, who, Jim, like all the people you've taken and trained, etc., who would you say was the hardest hitter that you've ever like been in contact with or had on the pads, etc.? And he said it was you, right? So I spoke to him for about 20 minutes after that because I thought it was a bit of a wind-up, right? But he told me that Frank Warren was the hardest puncher he'd ever taken on the pads or the bag or whatever. Can you shed some light on this? Because it baffled me. But he said from everyone that he'd been in contact in boxing with, you hit the hardest.
He used to train me when I was younger.
Is that accurate, what Jimmy McDonnell said?
I don't know. How do I know that? I mean, I did. How do I know?
That's what he said.
What?
That's what Jim McDonnell said. He said that you, considering all the people he's been involved with in boxing, he said you, at some point in your life, was the hardest hitting person that he'd ever taken on pads or whatever.
I don't know about that.
That's what he told me. I'm not making it up. I swear on my child's life, that's what Jimmy McDonnell said. I just wanted your take on that. Is that accurate?
How can I tell you that? I'm hitting a pad. I'm not feeling it, am I?
At some point in
You
your
behave
life.
yourself, because I tell you what, the next time I see you, one word out of you, you'll be knocked spark out.
I'd like to find out, Frank, but you are kind of not the age Jimmy Mac was referring to, so you know we'll see. But did you used to
Well,
play
that was
Frank?
I would have been. How old would I have been then? I would have been in my 30s. Yeah.
Did you punch hard, Frank? But be honest.
What?
Did you hit hard? You must have hit hard for Jimmy Mac to have this conversation with me.
Good punching is about timing, mate. Like matchmaking.
I'm going to interview Jimmy Mac about this because I need more context to this. Well, Frank, listen, we are on the 10th of Jan and we are hoping for a spectacular kind of year for 2024, not just with heavyweights, but in boxing in general. But yeah, it's all positive at the moment. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done, etc. But it's looking more positive now than it has been over the last 10 years.
Well, it is. I mean, you know, it's timing, and this, you know, the fact that, you know, HE and the Riyadh season and Seller are so into boxing has been brilliant for the sport as a whole, and great for all of us, everybody involved, and it's and it has taken it to a new dimension, and long may that continue. And all we got to do is just keep delivering the fights and making them happen between us all. But you've got to keep bringing the young fighters through. Still got to develop them, bring them through. Tomorrow's champions, and that's important. We can't neglect what we do over here, or we do or anyone wherever they're promoting around the world, because we got to keep bringing the guys through. And there are some, there'll be some cracking shows coming up. I'm looking forward to seeing Zhang back in action. I'm looking forward to see Joe Joyce back in action. I'm looking forward to seeing Anthony Yarde in a big fight. I hope we're going to be able to make him with a winner of Buatsi and Aziz. I'd like to see that fight happen. But all these really, all these really good youngsters with us, and a couple I mentioned already, like, who are just coming through, just breaking through, and I hope by the end of the year to be in some significant fights, some real significant fights. I mean,
John O'Carroll here. How's things, pal?
It's John O'Carroll.
Who's that?
John
O'Carroll.
Hiya, John. How you doing?
All good, brother. Listen, when you're doing them big fights in Saudi, bro, you need to remember me, yeah?
I will, mate. Tell me, you two are not sharing the same room, are you?
No, bro. He's the sitting room. I don't know why he's sitting in the deck.
Is you keeping him warm?
He's going.
Yeah.
He's going training anyway. Frank, just going back to Anthony Yarde there. Obviously, we know Callum Smith and Viterbi are fighting soon. We've got that fight with Buatsi and Aziz coming up. What's the plan with Anthony Yarde right now? Because he could be in any one of these fights.
Well, I just want to get him. I want to get him out, and then I want to get him in. We're waiting for the result of that fight, and we're going to make an offer for the winner to fight Anthony. That's what I would like to happen. That's what I would like to happen.
Because it seems like he's.
And you got the fight. And you got the fight the weekend with Smith and Berbicev.
Yeah.
The winner of that in with Bivol. That's another one we'd all like to see.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, listen, Frank, thank you very much for your time. We look forward to, obviously, your first show back is on the 10th.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Shiraz and Williams, which is a great fight, which is obviously the rescheduled fight when that fight didn't materialise at the back end of 2023. But that's a great fight and a great start to kind of your domestic show.
It is. And I'm looking forward, I'm really looking forward as well to some of these youngsters coming through now as well. I know I'm saying it again, like Moses and, Hamza and all these guys all moving on to the next level. Young Royston. I mean, there's so many of them in such good positions. And I think it's going to be exciting times. And we're going to have a lot of stars in British boxing who are going to become world stars, world-class stars. No doubt about it by the end of the year. It's real exciting times for boxing and certainly for British boxing. Exciting times.
Is this potentially the best period of time you've been in quite some time, Frank? Kind of where potentially it could go to and what's coming up and what's
I generally think, KUGAN, for everybody. For you guys, for everybody involved, for the fans, for everybody. This is a roller coaster, and it's getting bigger and bigger as we're going along.
Okay, Frank, just before I let you go, I do want to ask your opinion about obviously some comments from Simon Jordan regarding the atmosphere in Saudi Arabia. It just come to me that those comments obviously were made. Just wanted your reaction to that, Frank.
It's just rubbish, wasn't it? You was out there. There was a good atmosphere. People got behind it, and the same as for Tyson's fight. 24,000, 25,000 people in the stadium cheering. It's just crazy. And why even pick up on that? The fights were brilliant. They were great. It was a great show, great event. And I don't understand why you'd even go there. It's like, I'm looking to try and shit on something. And it was just stupid. I didn't get it at all.
Frank, I've got to ask you, obviously, we know from the Fury and Ngannou fight, Tyson's stance with Talksport. But is this kind of drifting into kind of other shows that you're involved with Talksport, or is it just the Fury and Talksport situation? Or, we know Talksport were there, obviously, for the last card, but what is the situation there?
Well, they were there for the last card, and it's just, there's no long-term deal. It's just a show-by-show situation where the radio rights to be be put out on the market for someone to buy, as you'd expect. Maybe Talksport, maybe somebody else.
But is there still an issue with Tyson Fury and Talksport?
Tyson's not happy with them at all. I wasn't that happy after hearing about picking out on the atmosphere. I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was a ridiculous comment to make.
Okay. Well, Frank Warren, thank you very much for your time. I'm sure we'll be seeing you. Obviously, it'll be better in person. Probably next at the Shiraz and Williams fight night, which is on the 10th of February, and then on to Saudi Arabia.
Or press conferences we've got coming up.
There is one next week, I think, isn't there? And obviously, you're going to announce your your card for the Magnificent Seven. So, yeah,
There'll be a few press conferences in the next couple of weeks.
we'll look forward to them.
Lovely.
Frank Warren, thank you
Good.
very much for talking to IFL TV. And yeah, we'll definitely catch up with you again soon.
I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, mate.
See you. Come on, the Reds.
You good? All sorted?
Yeah. I'm better than Arsenal, that's for sure.
What's happened to them? They've fucking gone to bits.
They look like shit, didn't they? No striker. They need a striker.
I don't know who they're going to sign. 3 back-to-back defeats, though. That's like horrendous.
Well, one goal in those 3 games as well. Yeah, terrible. Anyway. All right, my son. Will you look after yourself? And I'll see you when
Yeah, I'll be back in a week and a half anyway, yeah?
all right, enjoy yourself.
Thanks, mate.
Get that fella out your room. You get people talk about you. Yeah.
Good, mate. No worries.
Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook. Sign up now for a $20 free bet. Just use the code IFLTV24. Sign up now. Terms and conditions apply.